Okay, the next problem I want to do for you is not quite as straightforward because I'm missing a term here in the thing that I'm dividing by. So what I'm going to do in that situation is, when I write it out, I'm going to leave a space and write 0x squared. And you can do that. You can add 0x squared to anything you want. It doesn't change anything. Just like, you know, I promise to give you $0. I'll promise to give you that all day because it doesn't change anything. So I put 0x squared there, then 3x, then my 4. Now, why do I put a 0 there? Because everything you do needs to be lined up in columns. Even though there's no x squared here, sometimes as I do my work, I may end up having terms that involve x squared, so I need a space for them to do the work in. So that's why I put an entry in the x squared column. Keep that whole idea of columns in mind, and you won't go wrong. Okay, so what do I multiply x by to get x cubed? Well, x squared. See there? I did need a place for x squared. That's why the 0x squared was so important. It's a placeholder. Just like in regular long division, sometimes you add zeros in. Okay, x squared times x is x cubed. X squared times -1, negative x squared. See, once again, I have a place where negative x squared is doing something, and I need to leave room for it. Because if you just did and then you had the 3x there, you wouldn't know what to do. You might try to combine those by mistake. That would be bad. Okay, so now we draw the line and we change the signs. Notice that this negative becomes positive. Cancel. 0 plus 1 is just 1x squared, and I don't need to put a 1 there, obviously. Bring down the next term. Remember, the process is multiply, subtract, bring down. Okay, what do I multiply x by to get x squared? Well, how about x? So positive x. X times x is x squared. X times -1 is -1x. Draw the line. Change the signs. Cancel. -3 plus 1 is -2. Whoops, let me make that the same color again. So -2x. Bring down the next term, positive 4. Okay? Once again, only look at the terms out in front, the x and the -2x. And what do I multiply x by to make -2x? How about a -2? -2 times x is -2x. -2 times -1 is 2. Draw the line. Change the signs. Boom, boom. And I have a remainder of 2. Now, in kindergarten, when you guys first started doing long division, you probably wrote R2 for remainder 2. But then later on, when you learned about fractions and you were doing division, you may have written this as a mixed number. Well, we're going to kind of do the same thing. It's not exactly a mixed number, but it's the same type of idea. What I mean by that is, if you had, let's say, 10 divided by 3, it goes 3 times with 1 left over, and instead of writing 1, remainder 1, you would write 1/3. So your answer would be 3 plus 1/3. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to say we have this left over plus not 2 over 3, but we're actually dividing by x minus 1. So 2 over x minus 1. So you take your remainder, put it over whatever you're dividing by, just like you did in plain old division.